In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can create letters going out to participants who have registered for a lecture to be held at a museum. So here we're going to create the letter, we're going to create the primary data source and link them together to create the final document. So for your first step, click on the Mailings tab where you will find all mail merge related options. At this point, you need to set up your document, which can be done using the step-by-step mail merge wizard, which is a simple guide even for a beginner. I'm going to go with the letter option where you can work with, and then I'm going to start the document. Here, we've got to see where we're going to source our document from. Is it going to be the document that you've already opened? Or is it going to be a template that you're just going to edit? Or is it going to be an existing document that you've already prepared? I'm going to go with the current document option and start working on my recipients. I'm going to type a new list, so I'm going to hit the create button, which will open a window like so for me, where you can see there's a lot of fields, some of which are needed and some of which are not. I'm going to customize these columns as per my requirement. So I'm definitely going to be needing the title, the first and the last names, but I don't need a company name. So I'm simply going to rename this to lecture, where I'm going to mention the name of the lecture that this recipient has registered for. I'm definitely going to need an address line 1 and an address line 2. And then I'm going to delete the rest of the fields which I feel are irrelevant and important. You simply click on the delete button and confirm your action by pressing the yes. But I do need a date and time option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the state option to date, and I'm going to add another field for time. Now I have the list that I need. Next, you add details of your recipient, starting from you need to add more entries, so simply click on new entry when you're done entering the first one. I have now added all the details of my recipients. I'm just having 4 for example's sake. And now I click OK, and this will prompt you to save it. So I'm going to save this as lecture, and I'm going to hit save button. At this point, you will be asked to pick what recipients you want to receive the letter, and so on and so forth. So we want all of them to receive it. I'm just going to say OK. Next, we move on to the most interesting part of working with your letter, which is to write it. Now I'm going to take time to write my letter. As you can see, by this point, our letter is prepared. But we're missing out a few basic components. We need to add the date. So I'm going to insert it from here. Now my date has been inserted. I have to insert the details of the recipients, which I'm going to insert it in the form of an address block. So you will find in the mailings tab a button by the name of address block. You can choose which option you would prefer to go with, which way you'd like them addressed, and say, okay, this looks good enough for us. So the address block will come here, and then we need to add the greeting line. Dear Mr. Randall, you can just swipe through this to see how your greeting line will look, and you can say okay. Now let's look through our letter and add the relevant merge fields. So here we say you are enrolled in the lecture series on date at the time. So here we need to add the details or the name of the lecture. So I'm removing the lecture field and saying go to insert merge fields and say lecture. Add a space. Specify the date next. Again, insert merge field, date. Same goes with time. Now our letter is prepared. Next, you need to preview it. You can move up and across these different recipients. You can see details of all 4 of them have been entered. And as your final step, you need to complete your merge. So you can either say print, or if you're going to print later, you can say edit individual letters, merge all records, and then you say okay. At this point, when I say okay, a new document will be prepared with the name letters, where all 4 of my documents will be on one file, like so. If you noticed, previously we just had a 1-page document, and now we have 4 such pages.